where did 28 married with a kid, where did that either vision or desire come from?
I mean, I think it was just being in high school and you think, I mean, some people say 25. I don't know, I just always
Do you know how many guys think that? 0.
I'm sure.
There may be like 1. If it's you, bro, good for you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dating Detox Show. My name's Autumnie and this is Eric.
What's going on?
And we are here talking about dating healthy, being healthy, just getting right in our relationships. So we have a great topic today.
Yes.
We're going to turn back time.
Yes.
So if you you could, give some advice to somebody younger, like, share, subscribe this right now. Share it to them because we're going back to our 20s.
20s. Oh, that was such a great time.
The sweet 20s.
Seems like it was yesterday.
And advice you would give your 20-year-old self while dating.
Dating advice for 20s, in your 20s.
So if you are over 20 and you know a 20-year-old, they need to hear this. And
Absolutely.
if you are 20, keep listening. So do your dishes, focus on something that you need to take care of today. And so we're going to turn back the time.
Yeah, some of us are turning more time back than others. But seems like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I actually have in like a month, all 3 of my girls will be in their 20s.
Wow.
So
that's kind of crazy.
It's real time. So some of this is real conversations that we're having about stuff and what's important.
Exactly.
But I'm more curious to know, now that you're not in your 20s.
Not in my 20s.
What was, if you could dial back and go, oh God, if someone had told me this, if somebody had told me this, because that's what always happens. Yeah. And I think we had a show where I said something to you and you were like, where were you 4 years ago?
Yeah, no.
But when I'm working with individuals or couples or premarital counseling, you don't know how many times I hear that we'll be talking about a concept that I just think is like, duh, it makes sense. And they're like, oh my gosh, if I had known this when, what would have helped you to know?
Well, for starters, I was one of those girls that at 16, 17 years old, I knew for sure by 28, I would be married. I'd have my own house and I'd have either a child or a child on the way. Like nobody could tell me anything different. Like I just knew in high school, going into college, by 28, that was it. That was just kind of like the make it age. So I truly spent college. I had a super serious boyfriend. I thought we were going to make it. Nobody could tell me anything different. We were super toxic for each other, but boy, did we love each other.
Of course you did.
Like we fought tooth and nail and we were going to go to the ends of the earth for each other. But we spent our entire college going back and forth with each other. Mm-hmm. And if I could go back a little bit in time, I can't rewrite time or change it, but I wish that maybe I had spent a little bit more time focusing on my girlfriends or hanging out with like the people around me, because I definitely prioritized him in my decision making. We were long distance, so I would travel to go see him like as often as I could. If I could get a chance to get away for the weekend.
So you were the college roommate that's like on the phone with them every night. That's just annoying. And then half the time you're like fighting with them.
Oh, 100%.
So then your roommates are like, why are you crying again? Oh, you guys broke up again.
100%.
Why do you let him do that? Or
100%.
I'm sitting at home and he hadn't called me because he actually went out tonight and left me sitting at home on the phone. So
yep.
That was you.
That was exactly me to the T. Because we were going to get married. So I thought we had to fight for this thing.
Where did 28 married with a kid, where did that either vision or desire come from?
I mean, I think it was just being in high school and you think, some people say 25. I don't know. I just always
Do you know how many guys think that? 0.
I'm sure.
There may be like 1. If it's you, bro, good for you. But there's like zero guys, because I remember distinctly, it was my junior year of high school and I was dating a girl, and I went over to her house and we were hanging out in her room. She had like a whiteboard in her room.
Oh.
And on the whiteboard, she had her first name, middle name, my last name.
Of course.
And I was like, oh no, you don't.
How old are you?
It's like 17.
17, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like,
right there. Yep.
I was like, what?
No, like that.
What are we doing? There's just no guys, except for you, bro, the one. There's no guys thinking that way. Like I'm going to be like when I went to college and then I met my wife and we ended up getting married super young.
But you were young.
But my freshman year of college, my roommate even told me, like when we talked about it, I told him, I don't know if I'm ever going to get married. Like it was zero, it was not on the radar at all.
But you were dating your now wife.
No, that was before I met my now wife. And then I met my now wife, and like 4 months later, he said that I was like, I think I could actually marry her, which was just not on my radar. I was like I'm not trying to. So I didn't even have a vision for.
She was your exception to the rule.
I guess, but I didn't even have exception. Like that wasn't even on my radar that there would be somebody. And maybe it's because I hadn't met somebody but yeah, there's like zero guys going, okay, by X age, I'm going to marry, I'm going to like.
Yeah, it just happens for them. But a lot of women, we have that expectation. And then sadly, a lot of us women, the expectation has not been met.
Yeah.
And sure, I have a lot of girlfriends who did get married in their 20s. But even in that, they still were like frustrated with the timeline that their boyfriend took. Like they wanted it to be sooner than when it actually ended up being. So I think in that too, I'm like, dang, like you still had to wait. Like usually they dated from like 21 all the way till 26 or 27 until they finally got like the ring and the actual marriage. Like they had to date for 5 to 6 years. I'm not kidding. Like I have
some of that
friends.
is seasonal because you're like in college, so it makes sense. Because otherwise, if you come to me and you're like, hey, we're thinking about getting married, or we're going to do premarital counseling. And I'm like, how long you been together? And they're like, well, we've been together like 6 years. I'm like,
yeah, it's a long time.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Or I promise you, I can't say all because universal words are never correct.
No, yeah.
Always never. Most couples
that
I counsel who are married, when I ask that question, tell me a little bit about I always want their love story, whatever. Tell how long you've been together, where'd you meet, how long you've been married. When I hear a couple say, we've been together 10 years and like married 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I don't even have to ask. 99.9% of the time, I know there has been a lot of toxicity in the relationship, because if a relationship, and I'm saying once you're out of college, I understand like high school through college, you can't get married. Once you're out of college, if you have that history, there's breakups, there's cheating, there's toxic behavior, because otherwise the progression probably in 2, 3, 4 years would move you towards
like my
marriage.
high school, my college boyfriend. Exactly. Same thing. Yeah. Exactly. If we had continued to press through and keep trying, we would
get back together, break it. Yeah.
It's just not. So still going back to my 20s, even after graduating college, ending that relationship, I mean, it was still very hyper-focused, but thankfully I knew I needed to get my career started.
Yeah.
So I was very, very driven in like starting my career and being able to live on my own. That just kind of comes from my own independence, though.
Okay.
Some girls still...
So that was important to you.
It was very important to me. But some of my friends, they moved back home. They graduated college and they moved back in with their parents. That wasn't a need for them.
Yeah.
So for any 20-year-old, I highly encourage you, get your career going. Either finish that degree or get, some type of training in something that you can do for yourself. Because I think, unfortunately, a lot of women's mindsets can be, well, I'll just get married and he can provide for me. But that is not the way of the world today. And it shouldn't be your mindset, because he could literally be gone. And I think that we have women can rely way too much on the idea of like, oh, if I just get married, then he'll just take care of me. I know I had that mindset a little bit whenever I was younger.
Some people want that. Like that.
Exactly. And
we had a whole off-camera discussion about certain people, and that can be a different show on people dating foreigners or marrying foreigners because they want a more traditional or some different stuff.
Exactly.
So you would tell them to not be so hyper focused on the relationship that they abandon friendships.
Don't leave your girlfriends.
And also to focus on a career, something that is
establishing
purposeful.
For you.
Yeah.
Yes. Like being able to know something that you know, they say like, oh, what do you bring to the table? It's like, be so confident in yourself that like you are the freaking table. Like everything that's on the table and around the table and in the table is something that you were able to do so that it's like two tables can come together and make a whole giant feast, right? I don't know if that analogy makes any sense.
I don't know where you're going with tables.
I don't know, but all I'm saying is that if you are in your 20s, highly, highly, highly encourage you. Like the man will come. And I'm still single. So like, I'm telling myself this, like I'm even in my 30s, like why spend so much time trying to find that person when you need to spend time finding yourself, finding yourself through who you are, your confidence in yourself, knowing that like if this man doesn't tell me I'm beautiful every single day, you know yourself, you're beautiful. You know, if he wants to cut you down or make you, you know, say negative words to you, which you don't know what they'll do, but those words don't affect you because you have enough confidence in yourself and in the Lord and who he's called you to be. So I think definitely I would have spent more time in my 20s building my own confidence up, being able to truly stand on my own to know, hey, if a man comes, great. If he doesn't, I'm okay with that. But it was always like, well, he's coming. I'll just go on another date. Oh, I'll just get on another dating app. Like, oh, I need to get married because that's what society's telling me to do. And honestly, it's just setting you up for a letdown. And it doesn't feel good when you make these expectations for your life. And then it's like, dang, I thought this was going to happen. Some people are more vocal about it. Some people aren't. But deep down, a lot of females, that's what they've desired. And maybe it hasn't worked out that way. And that's okay. But if you have confidence and like you have things going for you, when you meet that guy, you're going to hope he has something going for him too. And then y'all can just pair up.
Pair up. Two tables.
Literally.
Some of that language makes me sick. The whole, what do you bring to the table? Bring whatever I want. Like, because again, different people want different things in a relationship.
True.
I could find you as many guys who do not want boss chick coming to the table.
They don't.
As do. And again, some of that may be tied to their own issues, their own blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Did you ever, in your 20s, did you spend much conversation with friends or other people around, like really establishing your values, what's important to you? Or is it just kind of like,
Honestly, I think a lot of conversations, even till today, which I'm so much more mindful of. Like, I don't want all my conversations to be about when I get married or dating, because that's so many of them have been like that. And a few of my girlfriends who have not been like hypersensitive and wanting to get married, we've had good conversations. We've had in-depth conversations and like or going on trips together, like going on vacations. Oh my gosh. So fun. And I feel like the girls that I've done that with are the girls who were never hyper focused on getting married.
Yeah.
Like still to this day, they're not married and they're not like, I need to get married. Like they have boyfriends. They both do actually. But it's like, it just happened for them. And I'm grateful for their friendships because they weren't so like, we need to get boyfriends. And I was always like, oh, if we go on like a couple's date or a couple's treat or couple's retreat or a couple's vacation, they're like, we can just go together. And I'm like, okay, you know?
Yeah.
And that's
I agree.
essential. It's essential to be able to have those solid friends because even today I have married girlfriends and they're like, gosh, you have so many friends. It's like, because I really have established solid girlfriends. And then my married girlfriends are like, you know, calling me, wanting to hang out. And I'm like, yeah, like I can, but you have your whole husband and kids, you know?
Yeah, but they also value and need that friendship.
They want friendships too, but it's because they didn't tend to those when they were younger.
And it is so easy to get so hyper-focused on a relationship that you know, we've all known those people, right? That they're with you as soon as they find a partner.
And I can say I'm guilty of that.
You never see them again because they're always with a partner, and that's just not a healthy deal.
And that is and that is literally what so many of my girlfriends, that's happened to me.
Yeah.
We become so close, and then they get married, they move away, and I'm like pleading for their attention, right? Or then when they have something come up, then they kind of reach back and they're like, hey, like, how are you? You know, but I have great girlfriends. Like I have been surrounded by just a shield
of
wonderful, wonderful women that pray with me, support me. But I'm grateful for those because I know that when the Lord does allow me to get married, if that's even a thing. I'm not kidding. I'm truly...
You have a hard time saying when now, don't you? You're like, that seems presumptive. It's okay to...
It's not... Even during, like, since I've met Eric to today, I feel like my perspective on dating has honestly started to change. And I'm grateful for it because I can say that I have truly idolized the idea of dating to get married.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, it's like my peace and the things I can control. Like, you can't control the person you end up marrying.
Ever. You can't control the person you're married to.
And that can be so hard. And it's like, yes, they say getting married is like sanctifying, but it's also like dying to yourself.
Absolutely.
And you don't want to miss all these years that you didn't get to just be selfish. Like, you actually get to be selfish. But then also the Lord says, if you follow anything of Christianity, like, you get to be devoted to Him. You get time to journal. You get time to listen to praise and worship music or whatever you want to do when you want to do it. And there's nobody.
Paul says your time's divided. That's why he said, I wish everyone was like me, single. Yeah. So don't idolize the relationship in your 20s. Make sure you're cultivating healthy, good friendships that can last a lifetime. I do think establishing values, and again, I'm thinking long-term relationships are the glue that holds couples together is shared values. And so if you don't know, I forget which, was it Runaway Bride where Julia Roberts, who was like, however she won her eggs was the same way whoever she was dating won her eggs.
Oh, vaguely.
So I feel like it was like, how do you like your eggs? Well, how do you like your eggs? Poached. Well, I like my eggs poached. So the way she liked her eggs was always in relation to the person she was in relationship with. And I think that's easy to do because we so want connection and love and all that kind of stuff that if you have not established, like literally written down, no, these are the things I value. These are like, it was clear for you. You valued career, becoming independent, getting a house, some of those kind of things.
Yeah,
and
24, own my own home.
If you don't, you would have been susceptible to whatever. So I think establishing values. I also think, and this is going back to seeing why a lot of relationships fail, is people who are not spending the time and energy to get healthy. So most everybody comes out of their family of origin and high school relationships and early relationships with baggage, wounds, trauma. They don't deal with it. And so we attempt to deal with it in relationships, right? And so it's like, well, I don't want to deal with my loneliness or my rejection or my abandonment. Well, if I find somebody who's feeling me, it cures all that. Like it does in the moment. In the moment it does. It feels so great to have somebody that's interested in you. And I think too many people are not getting healthy individually, and it's killing relationships. I see it all the time.
Well, and it starts, everything comes to the surface.
Yeah.
Everything in the dark
because a relationship will expose it. Just like all the stuff they might fulfill.
Yeah.
They're also going to exasperate those exact same things when they don't. Like, for instance, your long distance college boyfriend.
Yes.
When he was on the phone with you and giving you undivided attention, oh my gosh, we're great. And then when he wasn't answering his phone because he was out with the fellas and you were sitting at home by yourself.
It's like not cool. And I think too, something in that is when you have a lot of friends, like still you can go on dates. Like definitely if you're in your 20s, like if the date happens, if you go on a date, blind date, sure, go for it. Yeah. But I think cultivating solid friendships, learning how to navigate and conversate with, if you're a girl, girlfriends, if you're a guy, guy friends, because so many of those relationship tactics, like aspects, just ways of communicating can transpire into how you'll communicate with your future spouse. And if you just want to avoid conversations or let things slide, then that's definitely how you may view your relationship. And something else too, I love this saying, is like when you're meeting new friends, do you spend the whole day together? Or do you do a sleepover the first night? Or do you talk and tell them every single thing? No. So then why are so many girls getting in these relationships with guys?
I was like, where are you going?
And they spend all day talking to them. They spend the night with them. They share all this information with them. It's like, would you do that if you had just met a girl? No, not at all.
That would be super weird. You're like, hey, Autumnie, meet Amy. And you're like, want to spend the night tonight?
No, but like, why is that so different? Like, why can't girls be able to recognize, like, when you meet a new girl to become friends, you might connect. Maybe you plan a lunch in a week or so and it's okay. If she doesn't text you back within that day or the next day, you're not tripping. But when you meet a man and he doesn't text you back within that day or a couple of hours, you're like, well, doesn't he like me? Does he not want to like me? And then it's like, oh my gosh, I have to spend my whole night with him. Like, no, stop doing that. Girls in their 20s, just stop. Get to know a guy like you would a girl, because that is the healthiest thing to do, because otherwise we just put these unrealistic, toxic situations on men. And it's like, this is not how I even want to start a friendship with you, because I've jumped way far in and I'm like, and then you look at your girlfriends and they're the ones that are there. They're the ones that are still there because you took that relationship the healthy route. You weren't freaking out if you didn't see them in 3 days. It's okay.
What experience? I think the other thing in your 20s is it's a great time to experience things.
Yes.
One, you don't know who you are, right? So one of the dangers of getting in a relationship real early is like who you were at 20 and who you are at 30 and who you like. You don't know who you are. Some of that develops, but I think you also miss. It'd be interesting to do a survey of like girlfriends who got married at 24 when they're like 42. Do they look back and go, I wish I had had more time to fill in a blank?
They definitely
like go on girl trips or have experiences or do something, because it's even my girls, we talk about that. It's like they're in such a hurry to like hurry up and grow up and move out and adult. And then it's like, as soon as you realize what car insurance cost and stuff, like you're like, adulting sucks. And
no rush.
And married adulting can suck
harder.
Even more, because you now have to consider somebody else in every decision you make, everything you do. And so I think in your 20s, dating in your 20s, like slow down.
Yeah.
Take your time.
For sure.
And what are the experiences that would be great to look back on and go, man, I got to do this and I got to do this and I got to do this because, I wasn't stuck in a relationship.
Yeah. And it's not to say some people can't have a boyfriend and do that, but majority, they're going to be more fixated on spending time with their boyfriend, spending time making memories with them. And then what sucks is that if y'all don't work out, then all those memories and they're in the photos, you have to delete them all because it's a reminder of them. And that part sucks.
That's where they say, like Christmas family photos, make sure to put the boyfriends and the girlfriends on the outside so you can crop them out. Do not have them in the center picture.
It's real. It's so real. So take the solo photos, do the trips with the girlfriends. Don't just, if I could go back, I would spend a lot more time not worrying about when it's going to happen. And even now in my 30s, I was like, it's okay. And that's like a crazy feeling to feel, like from a girl who used to be completely obsessed with the idea of being married, like completely obsessed. And something the Lord did show me on my 28th birthday, which this is kind of how God can truly answer our still prayers. He still showed up for me. So at 28, I woke up on my birthday and I was like, gosh, Lord, I thought my life was going to look so different than what it is right now. But then quickly, I started to see, the 3 things I said. I'd be married, I'd have a house, and I'd have kids, right? And the Lord truly was like, you have devoted your life to me. You are married to me. There is a covenant that you and I have created. And it was like so sweet. He's like, you wanted a house. You own your own home. You own your own home. You have a home. And I was like, oh my gosh, I do. He's like, and you want kids. I'm a teacher. I have taught so many kids who
hundreds of
genuinely, sometimes they'll say, Mom. They'll accidentally call me Mom, or they'll sign their name. You're a student. You're a child even. And I'm like, I have everything I wanted. It just looks different. And when I was able to see it in that perspective, I was like, I am married to the Lord. I'm devoted to him. I do have my own home, and I do have kids that I get to take care of and pour into and love 8 hours of the day.
And then send them back home with all the other stuff you don't have to deal with.
That part, you know? And so being able to look back and say, I did get that. It just didn't look exactly how I wanted it, and be okay with it is the most freeing feeling.
Yeah.
Because no matter which way you plan your life, it's never going to go exactly how you want it to. But don't spend all of your 20s trying to plan it and dictate how it should be, because you will be let down. But if you see the opportunities that come and take advantage of them and explore them, then you're living life.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think it's hard to, so if someone can listen to what we're saying,
Yeah.
that makes sense, that'd be good. But it's hard because the expectation in the culture, basically, if you have a boyfriend tomorrow, the expectation is that you are now going to do everything we said not to, which is abandon your friends, spend all your time with them, go all in. But culture, if you don't do it that way, like if you and your friend group in your 20s, one of you started dating somebody and your friends knew it and you were like, oh yeah, we hung out on Tuesday, we'll probably hang out again next week. They'd be like, what? What's wrong? Like, why aren't you guys hanging out every night? You're going to hang out with us? Does your boyfriend not want you? Like, it's just, we've normalized unhealthy, which makes it now hard to be healthy because everybody around you is kind of like, oh, you guys are awesome together.
It's like, I don't need to talk to you 24 hours a day, every day.
It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Because there's going to come a day when you don't want to.
And like, honestly,
I need a break.
I've gotten to the point too with like the good morning text messages. Like, my girlfriends don't text me good morning.
I know.
So
good morning, beautiful.
Why
Stop that.
Why to do that?
Stop that.
Don't.
Especially new dating app guys.
It's
It's everybody.
ridiculous.
Good morning, beautiful. Hope you have a great day.
No, you don't need that. If your girlfriends don't do that, you don't need a guy to do it. You really don't.
Let's end with that. That's all. I agree. Good morning, beautiful. Stop it. If you have not downloaded our Modern Daters Playbook, it is free. It will help you think through some things that will help you date in a healthy way. You'll see a link in the description area below. And until next time, we'll see you right back here.
Bye, guys.